So last night I just finished playing Dispatch, and I know for the first half of the series I was uploading every episode onto my channel. I decided to not record myself playing it anymore, mainly because I just felt like it wasn't that fun to do. The game is fun, but recording just the TV and not having my face, I just felt like it wasn't that great of a video. And also the time it takes to transfer the footage and edit it, honestly, it just wasn't worth it to me to do it anymore. So I just wanted to play it just on my own. And I finished the last episode last night, episode 8, and overall, I thought it was a really fun game. It was definitely, there were some moments that felt a bit emotional, and I had a lot of fun playing it. I've mentioned this before, but I love choices matter type of games where there are multiple endings, such as Life is Strange, Detroit Become Human, Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls. I've enjoyed all of them. And if I had to really think about why I enjoy these types of games, I think it's because there are multiple endings and it makes me curious, right? Because when you play these games, like every choice you do, every decision you make can affect the outcome of how the game is going to turn out. And when I think about my own life, I tend to think about the choices I make, and I think to myself, how would my life pan out? How would my life be different had I done this instead of that? And these are things I think about all the time. For example, when I was a senior in high school, I was supposed to be college roommates with one of my closest friends. And I was super excited for it. And then about a month later, before the school year was going to end, before we graduated, my friend decided to go to a different college. And it was mainly because, what I was told is because he got more scholarship money. So he went to this other school. And at the time, I was pretty upset. Honestly, I was upset at my friend for doing this because in the moment, I somewhat felt betrayed. But I was also just upset at the situation because, now I don't have a roommate. I have to find a new roommate. And I was going to be roommates with my closest friend. But now, not only am I not going to be roommates with this person, we're going to go to different schools. So I'm not going to be able to see him as much. And that made me sad. The thing is, whenever we came back home for like winter break or summer break, we'll always make time to, hang out and see each other and catch up and talk about how school is going. And a conversation that we always have is, what if we actually did go to the same school? What if we actually were roommates? How would our college experience be had it been that way? And I'll be honest, I think college would have been a lot more fun for me if the two of us were to have gone to school together. But, we still, even though we weren't at the same school, we still made an effort to, keep in touch. And, when we were to see each other again during our breaks, we're kind of just talking as if we hadn't just seen each other in a few months, That's the kind of relationship that I have with him, We can kind of just talk about anything. We can just pick things back up really quickly, even if we don't see or talk to each other for a long time. Another thing I think about is in 2023, I was at an all-time low career-wise because I was just so burnt out with my job and I was hating my life, hating the job, and I was trying to find a new job to go to. And for the company that I was working at this time, I was trying to find a project to go to. And at the time, it was really difficult to find a project. And I got an offer to join this new project. And this project was in a completely different, it's the same kind of work, but it's a different industry. So the culture is different. I don't know any of these people. And the catch is that I would actually be in Philadelphia. Now, I didn't have to move to Philadelphia, but I would have to travel there. I think they said like once or twice a week. And so that's a whole new kind of experience. Me personally, I've always worked locally, here in Virginia, Washington, D.C. So that's a kind of job where I would have to, travel a couple hours to a different city for work. And in the moment, I thought, maybe this could be a good job opportunity because I hate my current job. I just need to get out. I want to get out as soon as possible. But I was also thinking about, okay, well, the traveling aspect, I have to travel up to Philadelphia. And I know for some people might enjoy the travel aspect when it comes to their job. Me personally, I'm a homebody and traveling makes me tired. And I know myself, right? And I just knew that even if it's only like a 3-hour drive every so often, I feel like that itself will burn me out. And so after thinking it through, I told the person who was offering me this job, I told them like, hey, like, I really appreciate the offer, but I'm going to stay put and I'm going to try to find a opportunity that's, local to me. And I think like a month later, I was able to find something that was in my area. So I was happy about that. But, I do think about, what if I had taken that job opportunity? What if I was doing this, traveling up to Philadelphia and, being in a different city, having a change of scenery? Like, how would my life be different had I taken that job offer, So, these are things that I think about all the time. What if I did this? What if I took that job offer? What if I had grown some balls and asked out that girl that I am interested in? These are all things that I think about. And had I done this one thing, how would my life be different compared to now? I just remind myself that everything that I do happens for a reason. And the decisions that I make, whatever I do, like, I got to own it, right? I don't necessarily regret anything that I've done. And, I'm proud of what I've accomplished. I'm proud of what I've done so far. And I know there's really no point in thinking about the past and thinking about, oh, what if I had done this thing differently? What if I had done that? There's really no point to think about it, but I just can't help but think about it. So yeah, that's kind of the reason why I've always enjoyed playing these Choices Matter games. But yeah, I finished Dispatch last night. It was only 8 episodes. I was hoping it would be longer, but I hope they make another season. If they do, I will jump right on it.